Just Kenny is asking, just getting in, guys, have we talked about cornerbacks, and what position is that? SFs?
Safeties, maybe.
Safeties? Okay.
San Francisco's.
Must be. Anybody want to dice up the corners and safety position?
They've got about 8 safeties that they're tripping over. You got Ronnie Hickman, who was the leading tackler on the team. He's back this year. McCalister, who transferred in from Oklahoma State. He's definitely going to play, you figure. So there's 2 of your 3 safeties right there. And then the third one could be Josh Proctor, who's not practicing right now, but he was a starter the year before in 2020 and got injured early in 2021. What was it? Maybe he got hurt in the Oregon game, perhaps. Does that ring a bell? And so to me, those probably your top 3, but you've got a whole host of people behind them. Lathan Ransom, who's also not practicing. He got hurt in the Rose Bowl. You've got Bryson Shaw, who started most of last season, but I can't imagine he's going to start in front of any of the first 3 that I mentioned if Proctor's healthy, with new coaches on staff, and a bunch of other guys as well, younger guys, Andre Turrentine, 3 or 4 other guys, maybe Jalen Johnson would be in that group. So you got a bunch of young guys there at corner, and I may have left somebody out. If I did, feel free to pick me up there. But again, I think it's Cameron Brown, Denzel Burke are the first 2. And then you have a host of guys, LeJon Cavazos. You have Cameron Martinez, who would maybe be a corner, I guess. And then some young guys, J.K. Johnson and Jordan Hancock. So you're 3 deep, maybe at corner, with some other guys pending in there as well. So you've got 6 pretty good candidates at both safety and corner, in my opinion, and probably some other guys that I didn't even mention, like Marcus Hooker at safety. Although, if he didn't play last year, I don't know when he's ever going to play for them at safety because, they didn't have any safeties last year and he didn't play. So, at least until Hickman stepped up. So, they're back to full strength, I think, at both those positions.
Kevin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading something on the message board at that point. I mean, as Steve put on the laundry list, I figured that he had all the names there. I mean, it's just going to be a matter of who's going to be healthy, and who fits in this Knowles system. Honestly, you sit there, you bring in Tanner McCalister from Oklahoma State. You got to figure that he didn't come here to be an observer or a cheerleader, that you got to pencil him into which was that spot? The adjuster? Is that
the slot safety covers safety? What? Yeah. What?
There was the one with the B.
Nickel. It's just nickel.
Nickel. The nickel's the nickel. The A is the adjuster, and then the B is like
boundary.
Your boundary guy. Yeah. So
bandit.
Bandit. There you go. Get out. I go and cover basketball for a week plus, and I fall out of football favor at this point. I'd like to table this discussion until after the spring game, until we see some guys take some reps and with them out there playing thud football. That hasn't been announced, but we know that they're not going to have them out there really going for it. Jim Knowles earlier in spring ball talked about just how you have to kind of do away with tackling as it is in terms of practice, just based on everything. But I don't know. As I've said once and I've said a million times, we're not going to really come out of the spring with many positions decided upon outside of quarterback, regardless of what you may hear. That, it's going to be a situation of, we know C.J. Stroud is fine in his position, but when it comes to the corners and to the safeties, feel really good about Denzel Burke, feel really good about Cameron Brown, but, we'll see.
I thought it was interesting. A couple weeks ago, before spring break, Jim Knowles spoke very highly of Court Williams and everything that he stands for, everything he does off the field, everything that he was potentially can do on the field, and said he wants Court Williams on the field this year. Then said the same thing about Ronnie Hickman. He wants Ronnie Hickman on the field. those two guys are the two deep safeties. And so where's Josh Proctor in there? So Josh Proctor is really being hurt by not being full go in the spring, and he'll be able to go more and more as the spring goes on. But he's going to have to be playing some catch up. The good news is he's a senior, and he can do that mentally because he's been around long enough. So he may be able to, I don't necessarily say catch up by the end of spring, but have an idea of what this defense entails, of what is being taught. And so that's good. But I think the nickel is Tanner McCalister, Cameron Martinez, those guys. McCalister, you could probably put him in ink. Ronnie Hickman maybe in ink as well. It's just going to be interesting to see how Josh Proctor eventually gets back in there. And corners, I keep Denzel Burke I think is going to be fine unless he totally regresses, which nobody expects. Cameron Brown just needs to stay healthy, and if he can do that, and then I'm interested to see if Jordan Hancock or J.K. Johnson or even Legend Cavazos can get in there, and do they, if you've got three guys that can start, do they go back to a rotation of corners like Kerry Combs like to do? Now Jeff Hafley didn't do it, but I don't think he had the corners, and so can Jordan Hancock or Jalen Johnson be that guy? We'll see. And then you still have, as Steve said, Lathan Ransom. When does he get back full healthy, full speed? Sometime this summer, maybe, I don't know. And he may not, he may be so far behind by the time he's healthy that he may have to wait a year.